The bright lights of Colony 7 shone like a beacon in the dark valleys of planet Meridian. From his office window, Administrator Tom Wilson watched the evening shift workers heading to their posts. 4 years ago, these buildings had been nothing but metal shells dropped from orbit. Now, nearly 500 people called this place home. Still admiring your kingdom. Chief Engineer Maria Rodriguez walked in, carrying 2 steaming cups. Wilson smiled, taking the offered drink. Not a kingdom. Just a small corner of humanity that somehow works. Small but mighty, Rodriguez said, standing beside him. Harvest numbers came in. We're 10% above targets. Earth will be pleased, Wilson said, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. The truth was, Earth hadn't been pleased about anything from Colony 7 in a long time. The last official transmission had come 3 months ago, and even that was just automated systems checks. Any word from command? Rodriguez asked, reading his thoughts. Wilson shook his head. Nothing new. Still transmission delays due to solar activity. Both knew it was a lie. The communication array was working perfectly. Earth was simply not responding. The next morning, Wilson sat alone in the communications room, sending his daily report. He kept sending them, even though responses had stopped coming. It was part duty, part hope. This is Administrator Wilson, Colony 7, Day 1523 on Meridian. All systems functional. Population 497. Food production exceeding targets. Construction of southern habitat complete. He paused, then added, Request update on supply mission ETA. Previous scheduled arrival has passed by 60 days. Please advise. He hit send and waited. The message disappeared into the void of space, racing toward a home planet that seemed to have forgotten them. The door slid open, and David Mitchell, head of security, stepped in. You need to see this, sir. Mitchell led Wilson to the monitoring station, where a technician named Jamie Taylor sat, eyes fixed on her screen. Show him, Mitchell ordered. Taylor tapped her keyboard, and a waveform appeared. I picked this up 3 hours ago. It's not one of ours, and it's definitely not natural. What is it? Wilson asked, leaning closer. A signal. From deep space, beyond our system. Taylor looked up, her eyes wide. Sir, I think there's something out there watching us. Wilson called an emergency meeting of department heads in the colony's small conference room. Rodriguez, Mitchell, Dr. Lee from Medical, and Farming Chief Peterson all listened as Taylor explained the signal. It's repeating every 93 minutes. The pattern is too precise to be random space noise, Taylor concluded. Could it be from Earth? A probe? Peterson asked. Rodriguez shook her head. We'd know the signature. This is different. Different how? Wilson pressed. It's not using any human communication protocol I've ever seen, Taylor admitted. And the energy pattern, it's like nothing in our database. Dr. Lee removed her glasses. Are we talking about aliens? The room fell silent. Humanity had spread to a dozen star systems, but had never encountered intelligent alien life. There were theories, of course, and even some fossilized microbes found on Mars. But nothing living, nothing intelligent. We need to tell Earth, Mitchell said firmly. I've been trying, Wilson replied, for months now. Try harder, Mitchell urged. Use the emergency channels. I'll prepare a full report with the signal data, Wilson decided. Taylor, keep monitoring. Rodriguez, I want our defense systems checked. Just in case. As the meeting disbanded, Wilson held Rodriguez back. When they were alone, he revealed what he'd been hiding for weeks. I got a message from Admiral Barnes. Unofficial. Personal channel. Wilson's voice was low. Colony 7 has been officially designated as non-essential. Rodriguez stared. What does that mean? It means Earth isn't coming back. United Space Command has redirected all resources to the inner colonies. We're too far, too expensive. Wilson's shoulders sagged. They've abandoned us, Maria. Over the next 3 weeks, Wilson sent 17 emergency messages to Earth about the signal. Each transmission included Taylor's increasingly detailed analysis. The signals were growing stronger, suggesting whatever was sending them was coming closer. No response came from Earth. In the colony greenhouse, Rodriguez found Wilson staring at the newly planted saplings from Earth's maple trees. "The colonists are asking questions," she said. "They know something's wrong." "What do I tell them?" "That their government decided they're not worth the fuel to reach them." Wilson touched a small leaf. "That we're on our own at the edge of human space." "Tell them the truth," Rodriguez said. "They deserve that much." Wilson looked at her. "And start a panic. Have them lose faith when we need unity most. They're stronger than you think." Wilson considered this, then shook his head. "Not yet. Let's give Earth one more chance." He gestured around them. "Meanwhile, I need you to accelerate your project." Rodriguez nodded. Her project was unofficial, bunkers built deep in Meridian's bedrock, designed to hide the colony if needed. Only 6 people knew about it. "The first section will be ready in a month," she said. "Make it 2 weeks," Wilson replied. Taylor's voice crackled over Wilson's personal communicator. "At 3 a.m., sir, you need to come to the comm center. Now." When Wilson arrived, Taylor was bouncing with nervous energy. The signal changed. "It's broadcasting in pulses now." "And," she hesitated, "it's reacting to our own transmissions." "What do you mean, reacting?" "When we send a message to Earth, it sends back a similar pulse within minutes. It's like," she searched for words, "like it's studying our communications." Wilson felt a chill. "Have you told anyone else?" "No, sir. Just you. Keep it that way." Wilson made a decision. "From now on, we stop sending messages to Earth." "Sir, if something out there is tracking our communications, I don't want to lead it straight to us." Later that day, Wilson gathered his leadership team. "The time for secrets was ending. I believe we are not alone in this part of space," he announced. "And I also believe that whatever is out there, Earth is not coming to help us deal with it." He laid out everything: the non-essential designation, the bunker project, and the signal's response to their transmissions. "From now on, we operate as if we are the only humans who can protect ourselves," Wilson concluded. "We don't know what's coming, but Colony 7 will be ready." As his team dispersed with their new reality, Wilson returned to his window view of the colony. The lights still shone in the darkness, but now they seemed less like a beacon of human achievement and more like a target painted on an alien world, visible to unknown eyes that watched from the darkness between the stars. They were alone, and something was coming. 3 years had passed since Colony 7 last received any communication from Earth. Life on Meridian had changed. The colonists no longer looked to the skies for supply ships. Instead, they looked up with worry. Administrator Wilson stood in the newly built watchtower, his eyes fixed on the stars above. The colony had expanded despite being abandoned. New buildings spread across the valley floor, farms stretched to the horizon, and children born on Meridian now outnumbered those from Earth. Still stargazing, Rodriguez asked, climbing the ladder to join him. "Old habits," Wilson replied. "Any update from Taylor?" Rodriguez handed him a tablet. "The signals are stronger. Whatever's out there, it's getting closer." Wilson studied the data. The mysterious signals that Taylor had discovered 3 years ago had become a regular part of colony life. Some colonists even called them the Space Whispers. "How are the bunkers?" Wilson asked. "Finished last month. Enough room for everyone, supplies for a year." Rodriguez leaned against the railing. "Though I still hope we never need them." Wilson nodded but said nothing. Hope was in short supply these days. The alert came at midday. Taylor's voice echoed through the colony speakers. "Unidentified object entering Meridian orbit. This is not a drill. All personnel to alert stations." In the command center, Wilson found organized chaos. Screens showed a massive object moving into position above the colony. "What am I looking at?" Wilson demanded. Taylor's fingers flew across her keyboard. "It appeared out of nowhere, sir. 1 minute nothing, the next." She pointed to the largest screen. That. The object was unlike anything Wilson had ever seen. It wasn't the sleek, practical design of Earth ships. This was organic, almost alive, with curves and protrusions that seemed to pulse with energy. "Is it a ship?" Mitchell asked, security team at his back. "Has to be," Rodriguez replied. "Too structured to be natural." Wilson made a decision. All non-essential personnel to the bunkers. Security team on full alert. "Taylor, open all communication channels." "Sir." Taylor looked up in surprise. "If they've come this far to find us, they already know we're here." Wilson straightened his jacket. "Let's talk to them." It took 30 minutes before the response came. The command center screens flickered, then filled with an image that made everyone step back. The being on screen was tall and thin, with skin like polished metal. Its head was elongated, with 3 glowing eyes set in a triangle pattern. When it spoke, its mouth didn't move. Instead, colors rippled across its torso. "Humans of Earth Colony." The translation software struggled to interpret the strange sounds. "You occupy Dominion territory. This violation has been noted." Wilson stepped forward. "I am Administrator Wilson of Colony 7. We were unaware this planet belonged to anyone. We come in peace and wish to establish friendly relations." The alien's eyes blinked in sequence. "There are no friendly relations with the Dominion. There is only the Dominion. You will surrender this outpost and prepare for processing." "Processing?" Wilson asked, but the communication cut off. Rodriguez grabbed Wilson's arm. That didn't sound good. "No," Wilson agreed. It didn't. 6 hours later, smaller ships descended from the main vessel. They didn't land but hovered above the colony, casting dark shadows. Wilson had organized an emergency council. Representatives from each colony department crowded into the command center. "We have 3 options," Wilson explained. "Surrender, fight, or hide." "Fight with what?" Peterson asked. "We're farmers, not soldiers." "The mining equipment could be repurposed," Rodriguez suggested. "And we have the emergency defense systems." Dr. Lee shook her head. "Those were designed to deal with angry local wildlife, not alien invaders." "What about hiding?" someone asked. "The bunkers would protect us for a while," Mitchell said. "But eventually, we'd have to come out." Wilson looked at each face in the room. "I won't decide this alone. We vote." The vote was close, but in the end, they chose to attempt one more peaceful contact before considering other options. Wilson and Rodriguez approached the designated meeting point, an empty field half a mile from the colony center. 3 figures emerged from one of the hovering ships and descended slowly. Up close, the aliens were even more unnerving. They moved with fluid grace that seemed impossible for their jointed limbs. "I am Administrator Wilson. This is Chief Engineer Rodriguez. We wish to—" "Your titles are irrelevant," the middle alien interrupted. "The Dominion requires this world. You are trespassers." "We've been here for 7 years," Rodriguez countered. "We've built a life here. Your duration of trespass does not change its nature." The alien extended a limb, revealing a device. "Your colony will be dismantled. Your people will be cataloged and relocated." "Relocated where?" Wilson asked. "To appropriate facilities." The alien's eyes pulsed. "The Dominion has use for human biological material." Wilson felt his blood run cold. "We're not biological material. We're people. This is our home." "Not anymore." The alien activated the device. A pulse of energy shot outward in all directions. Throughout the colony, every electronic system went dead simultaneously. Wilson's communicator fell silent. Rodriguez's tablet darkened. "The dismantling begins now," the alien announced. "Resistance is noted but irrelevant." The attack came without warning. Dozens of the smaller ships descended on the colony, firing weapons that didn't kill but paralyzed. Colonists fell where they stood, unable to move as the aliens methodically began collecting them. Wilson, Rodriguez, and those closest to the command center managed to reach the emergency bunker entrance before the paralysis wave hit them. "Get everyone inside," Wilson shouted as the heavy doors began to close. They watched on emergency-powered screens as their home was invaded. The aliens moved through buildings, scanning equipment, taking samples from farms and labs. "What do they want?" Someone sobbed. "Us," Rodriguez said grimly. "They want us." In the darkness of the bunker, surrounded by terrified colonists, Wilson felt the weight of leadership crushing down. Earth had abandoned them, and now aliens wanted to process them. They were truly alone. Then Taylor pushed through the crowd. "Sir, the experimental transmitter in Bunker 3 is still working. It's shielded against energy pulses. Can you send a message to Earth?" Wilson asked, a spark of hope lighting in his chest. Taylor hesitated. "I think so. But will they even listen?" Wilson looked around at the frightened faces of his people. "They have to. Send everything. What happened, who these aliens are, what they said about using humans. And if Earth still doesn't come," Mitchell asked quietly. Wilson's jaw tightened. "Then we fight. Not as Earth's colony, but as humans of Meridian. This is our home now, and we're not giving it up without a fight." As Taylor rushed off to send the message, Rodriguez laid out makeshift weapons on a table. Mining tools, repurposed farm equipment, and the few stunners from security. "Not much of an arsenal," she admitted. "It's enough to start a resistance," Wilson replied, picking up a tool that could serve as both weapon and means to free those captured. "The Dominion thinks we're just biological material. Time to show them what humans are really made of." Outside, above the colony they had built from nothing, the alien ships continued their systematic invasion, unaware that beneath their feet, the real fight was just beginning. 6 months had passed since the Dominion arrived. Colony 7 was now barely recognizable. The once thriving community had been transformed into a labor camp. Tall metal fences surrounded the main buildings, and alien guards patrolled day and night. Deep beneath the surface, in the hidden network of bunkers that Rodriguez had built, the resistance gathered. What had started as 40 frightened colonists had grown into a determined force of nearly 200. "Report," Wilson said, his voice rough from lack of sleep. The former administrator looked different now, thinner, harder, with a long scar across his cheek from a close encounter with a Dominion guard. Mitchell, now the Resistance's head of operations, spread a hand-drawn map on the table. "They've set up a new processing center here." He pointed to where the colony school once stood, taking 5 to 10 colonists each day. "For what?" asked a young woman named Rice, one of their newest escapees. "Research," Dr. Lee said quietly. "They're studying how our bodies work, how we think, what makes us human." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what happened to those taken to the processing centers. No one ever returned. "What about the signal?" Wilson asked, turning to Taylor. Taylor had become the Resistance's communications expert, spending hours studying Dominion technology. "Still transmitting. I've modified the emergency beacon to pulse at random intervals so they can't track it." "Any response from Earth?" Rodriguez asked the question everyone was thinking. Taylor shook her head. "Nothing." Wilson straightened up. "Then we continue as planned. Earth isn't coming. We fight for ourselves now." The Resistance had 3 main operations: gathering intelligence, freeing captive colonists, and sabotaging Dominion equipment. Today, all 3 would happen at once. In the early morning, Rodriguez led the small team toward the colony's former power plant. The Dominion had modified it to produce energy for their ships and equipment. In her hands, she carried a device she had spent weeks building. "Remember," she whispered to her team, "plant the device and get out. 20 minutes until detonation." Across the colony, Mitchell and his fighters prepared for the distraction. Using modified farming equipment and the few weapons they had stolen from the aliens, they would attack the guard post at the north fence. Meanwhile, Wilson and Taylor had the most dangerous job. While the Dominion forces were distracted, they would infiltrate the command center, formerly Wilson's office, to access the alien communication system. Everyone clear. Wilson asked over their makeshift radio system. 3 confirmations came back. For Meridian, Wilson said, and the operation began. Rodriguez moved silently through the maintenance tunnels beneath the power plant. The Dominion didn't understand human infrastructure well, which gave the Resistance one small advantage. Here, she whispered, pointing to a junction box. This connects to their main power converter. Her teammate, an electrician named Foster, helped her wire the device into place. It wasn't a bomb. They couldn't risk destroying the plant completely. Instead, it would create a massive power surge, overloading the Dominion systems. Set, Rodriguez confirmed. 19 minutes. Mitchell crouched behind the remains of the colonists' first greenhouse. His team of 15 was spread out, ready to spring into action. Remember, he said into his radio, we're not trying to kill them. Just keep them busy and pull them away from the command center. He checked his watch. 5 minutes. Wilson and Taylor hid in the shadows near the command center. 2 alien guards stood at the entrance, their weapons held ready. Think you can get us in? Wilson whispered. Taylor nodded, holding up a small device she had cobbled together from stolen Dominion technology. Their door systems operate on a frequency pattern. I've been recording it for weeks. Wilson squeezed her shoulder. Earth's loss was our gain when they sent you here. Taylor managed a small smile. 1 minute. The operation began exactly as planned. Rodriguez's device activated, sending a massive power surge through the system. Throughout the colony, lights flickered and Dominion equipment sparked and failed. At the north fence, Mitchell's team launched their attack. Using makeshift launchers, they fired pieces of metal and stone at the guard towers. The Dominion responded immediately, sending forces to counter the assault. Wilson watched as guards ran from the command center toward the disturbance. Now, he said to Taylor. They rushed forward. Taylor's device worked perfectly, unlocking the door with a soft click. Inside, the command center was empty except for 1 alien hunched over a console. Before it could react, Wilson used a stolen stunner. The alien collapsed, its metallic skin dimming. I need 3 minutes, Taylor said, already connecting her tablet to the Dominion system. Wilson stood guard while Taylor worked. What are we looking for? Anything. Their plans, communications, why they're really here. Taylor's fingers flew across the screen. Wait, I'm getting something. Wilson glanced over her shoulder at a stream of alien symbols. What is it? Messages, to someone else, not their homeworld. Taylor's eyes widened. Wilson, they're scared of something. The Dominion? Scared. Look at these transmission patterns. They're reporting to something bigger, something they call. She struggled with the translation. The collective, or maybe authority. And they're using us as payment. Alarm blared, cutting their discovery short. Time to go, Wilson ordered. They fled the command center just as Dominion reinforcements arrived. Outside, chaos had engulfed the colony. The power surge had done more damage than expected, and several alien ships were grounded, their systems offline. Rodriguez met them at the rendezvous point in an abandoned storage tunnel. Mitchell's team is pulling back. 4 wounded, all will make it. We got something, Wilson said, helping Taylor through the narrow passage. The Dominion is answering to someone else, using us as currency. Currency for what? Rodriguez asked. Protection, maybe, Taylor suggested. They seem to be running from something. The implications settled over them. If the mighty Dominion was afraid, what kind of threat existed out there in the darkness of space? Back in the bunker, the Resistance celebrated their small victory. 23 colonists had been freed from work details during the chaos. It was their most successful operation yet. Wilson watched the reunions, families embracing, friends crying with relief. Despite everything, human spirit remained unbroken. Taylor approached, her tablet in hand. I've decoded more of the transmission. There's something big coming, Wilson. The Dominion is preparing for it. Coming here? To Meridian? I think so. That's why they're processing humans so quickly. They need to, she hesitated, catalog us before it arrives. Wilson felt a chill run through him. How long do we have? Based on their communications, a few weeks, maybe less. Wilson nodded slowly, his mind already forming a new plan. Then we have one chance. We hit them harder. Free everyone we can. And we need to boost that emergency signal to Earth. Earth isn't coming, Wilson. Rodriguez reminded him gently. We've accepted that. Wilson looked at her with determination. Maybe not. But someone out there might be listening. And if the Dominion fears what's coming, maybe we should welcome it. As the Resistance planned their next move, high above Meridian, something new entered the system. A small probe, barely detectable, bearing the insignia of Earth's United Space Command. It recorded everything it saw, then vanished back into the darkness, carrying with it the truth about Colony 7's fate. The Resistance didn't know it yet, but their signal had been heard. The question was whether help would arrive before the mysterious force that even the Dominion feared. The Resistance had 2 weeks of success. They freed more colonists, damaged Dominion equipment, and even destroyed a small patrol ship. But their luck couldn't last forever. The Dominion brought reinforcements. 3 massive ships arrived, disgorging hundreds of new troops. The aliens changed their methods too. They no longer tried to capture humans alive. Now they shot to kill. Fall back, Wilson shouted as energy blasts tore through their hiding place. What should have been a simple sabotage mission had turned into a bloodbath. 2 Resistance fighters already lay dead, their bodies smoking from alien weapons. Rodriguez pulled him into a narrow alley. This way, tunnel entrance in the old storage facility. They ran, alien troops close behind. Mitchell provided covering fire with a modified Dominion weapon, but he took a blast to the shoulder before making it to safety. How bad? Wilson asked as Dr. Lee examined the wound in the dim light of the tunnel. Bad, she replied, her face grim. The energy weapon cauterized it, but there's significant internal damage. Mitchell gritted his teeth against the pain. Worth it. We got 10 more people out. Wilson nodded, but his heart was heavy. Every operation now cost lives. The Resistance was losing ground fast. Back in the main bunker, Taylor was waiting with news. They found 3 of our supply caches, she reported, and they're scanning for underground structures. How long before they find us? Wilson asked. Days, maybe less. The room fell silent. Nearly 300 colonists now hid in the bunker network. If the Dominion found them, it would be over. Rodriguez looked at the tired faces around her. We need to evacuate to the backup location in the mountains. We'll never make it, Wilson argued. Not with the wounded and children. They're watching everything now. Taylor cleared her throat. There's something else. The thing the Dominion fears. It's coming faster than we thought. Their communications are frantic. How soon? Wilson asked. Tomorrow, maybe the next day. Wilson's mind raced. What exactly are they saying about it? Taylor consulted her notes. They call it the Judgment. They're trying to process all remaining humans before it arrives. Why? Dr. Lee asked. I think, Taylor said hesitantly, they want to prove to whatever's coming that they've claimed this planet successfully, that they've conquered the native species. Wilson paced the small room. Then we need to show whatever's coming that the Dominion hasn't conquered us. How do we do that? Someone asked. Wilson looked at each face in turn. We make our final stand. Not hiding, but in the open. The plan was dangerous, perhaps suicidal, but it was their only chance. The Resistance would emerge from hiding and take back the colony center. When whatever the Dominion feared arrived, they would see humans fighting, not conquered. They gathered their weapons, a mix of stolen alien technology and repurposed tools. Everyone who could fight would. The others would remain hidden in the deepest bunker. If we don't make it back, Wilson told Rodriguez as they prepared, leave the survivors to the mountains. Rodriguez checked her weapon. We'll make it back. As they prepared to move out, a young colonist ran into the room. Taylor needs you in communications. Something's happening. Wilson and Rodriguez rushed to the makeshift communications center where Taylor sat, eyes wide, staring at her equipment. What is it? Wilson demanded. New signals, Taylor said, her voice shaking. Strong ones, not Dominion, and definitely not Earth standard. The judgment is here, Rodriguez whispered. No, Taylor looked up. These signals, they're talking to each other. Military formations, hundreds of them. Before Wilson could respond, the bunker shook with a massive explosion from above. They found us, Wilson realized. Everyone to battle stations. Execute emergency plan now. The resistance fighters emerged from hidden exits throughout the colony, fighting their way toward the center. They were vastly outnumbered, but surprise gave them an initial advantage. Wilson led his group through the residential sector, now a twisted version of the homes they had built. Dominion troops fell back, seemingly confused by the sudden attack. They're retreating, someone shouted. No, Wilson said, noticing how the aliens were looking skyward. Something's wrong. That's when he heard it, a deep rumbling that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The air itself vibrated. Look, Rodriguez pointed upward. The clouds parted as something massive pushed through Meridian's atmosphere. It wasn't one ship, but many. A formation so vast it blotted out the sky. Is that the judgment? A fighter asked, weapon lowered in awe. Before anyone could answer, the Dominion ships in orbit began firing. Not at the ground, but at the newcomers. The sky lit up with energy weapons. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Beams of light shot from the new arrivals, slicing through Dominion vessels like they were made of paper. One of the large alien ships split in half, its pieces tumbling toward the planet's surface. Take cover, Wilson shouted as debris began raining down. They watched in stunned silence as the battle above continued. It wasn't a battle at all. It was a slaughter. The Dominion fleet, so terrifying to the colonists, was being systematically destroyed. Who are they? Rodriguez breathed. As if in answer, Taylor's voice crackled over their communication devices. Wilson, are you seeing this? Check your emergency frequency. Wilson fumbled with his device, tuning to the old Earth emergency channel they had abandoned years ago. The voice came through, human, clear, and strong. Attention Colony 7. This is Commander Reed of the Earth Defense Fleet. Hold your positions. We are commencing liberation operations. I repeat, this is Earth. We have received your distress signal. Help has arrived. The resistance fighters looked at each other in disbelief. Earth had come after all. On the colony's main square, a Dominion commander was frantically trying to organize a defense when a small ship descended, sleek and deadly. It bore the insignia of the United Space Command, the double Earth emblem that no colonist had seen in years. The ship's weapons made short work of the alien troops. Its side opened, and soldiers emerged, human soldiers in advanced combat gear. Wilson stepped forward, hands raised to show he wasn't a threat. I'm Administrator Wilson, Colony 7. The lead soldier removed her helmet, revealing a woman with commander's insignia. Commander Reed. Sorry, we're late. Late? Wilson almost laughed. We thought you weren't coming at all. Reed's expression hardened. The Dominion made a mistake when they attacked a human colony. They're about to learn what happens when you mess with Earth. Above them, more ships descended, hundreds of them, forming the mightiest fleet humanity had ever assembled. The resistance fighters cheered, some crying openly. Earth hadn't abandoned them. Earth had been preparing. The Dominion troops that remained were running now, desperate to escape the fury raining down from above. But there was nowhere to run. Earth had come, and it had come with vengeance. The colony's main hall, once a gathering place for community meetings, now served as Earth Fleet's command center. Screens showed the ongoing battle in orbit and the systematic liberation of human settlements across Meridian. Wilson sat across from Commander Reed, still trying to process everything that had happened in the last 24 hours. "You never abandoned us," he said, his voice a mix of relief and accusation. Reed's expression softened slightly. "Not in the way you think. When communication stopped, it wasn't because Earth didn't care. It was because something bigger was happening." She activated a holographic display showing dozens of star systems. Red markers pulsed in several locations. 6 years ago, our deep space monitors detected the Dominion for the first time. We watched them conquer 3 non-human civilizations before they turned toward human space. "And you did nothing?" Rodriguez asked. She had joined them after helping organize medical care for the wounded resistance fighters. "We did everything," Reed corrected. "We built this fleet, developed weapons that could match theirs, trained soldiers, but we needed time, and we needed the Dominion to underestimate us. So you used us as bait," Wilson realized. Reed didn't flinch from the accusation. Colony 7 was one of 12 outer settlements we deprioritized. Our models showed the Dominion would target these colonies first. Each was given emergency protocols and bunker plans, just like you received. You knew they were coming and didn't warn us. Rodriguez's voice rose in anger. "If we had warned you, the Dominion would have known we knew about them." Reed's voice was calm but firm. "They'd monitor all official communications. We couldn't risk exposing our knowledge." Wilson stood up and paced the room. "How many colonists died because of your strategy?" "Too many," Reed admitted. "But how many billions would have died if the Dominion had reached Earth unprepared?" "They don't just conquer, Administrator Wilson. They harvest. Entire species used as resources." The room fell silent as her words sank in. "What happens now?" Taylor asked. She had been quietly analyzing the fleet communications from a corner workstation. Reed nodded to a soldier who brought forward a data tablet. "Now we finish what you started. The resistance you built didn't just save your people. It gave us invaluable intelligence about Dominion tactics and technology. The colonists deserve to know the truth," Wilson insisted. "They will," Reed agreed. "But first, we have a war to win." The liberation of Meridian took 3 days. Earth forces systematically cleared every Dominion outpost and facility. The aliens fought fiercely at first, then desperately as their defeat became inevitable. Wilson walked through the colony center, now secure under Earth protection. Children played in open areas for the first time in months. Medical teams treated the injured. Construction crews already worked to repair damaged buildings. "Hard to believe it's really over," Rodriguez said, joining him. "Is it?" Wilson wondered aloud. "Reed says this is just the beginning." They watched as Earth soldiers guided a group of captured Dominion troops onto a transport ship. The aliens looked smaller somehow, less terrifying without their weapons and ships. "Administrator Wilson," a voice called. Reed approached with another officer, a tall man with Admiral's insignia. "This is Admiral Barnes." Wilson recognized the name immediately. "You sent me the message about Colony 7 being non-essential." Barnes nodded. "A calculated deception. We needed the Dominion to believe Earth had abandoned these colonies. While you built your fleet," Wilson finished. "The greatest military force humanity has ever assembled," Barnes confirmed. 420 ships, 90,000 personnel, technology designed specifically to counter the Dominion. "And now?" Rodriguez asked. "Now we take the fight to them," Barnes said. "We've identified their core worlds. The Dominion has terrorized this sector of space for too long." Wilson looked around at his colony, damaged but standing. "What about Meridian? What about our people?" Reed stepped forward. "That's partly why we're here. Earth wants to officially recognize Colony 7 as a sovereign settlement, and we want to establish a permanent military base here." "Why?" Wilson asked, suspicious. "Because you're the front line," Barnes explained. "Not just against the Dominion, but whatever else is out there. Humanity is expanding, Wilson. What happened here has changed Earth. We're not hiding anymore." That evening, the colonists gathered in the rebuilt community square, all 512 survivors, plus nearly 2,000 Earth personnel. The colony had never seen so many people. Wilson stood on a makeshift stage alongside Rodriguez Taylor and a bandaged but standing Mitchell. Admiral Barnes addressed the crowd, explaining Earth's strategy and apologizing for the hardships the colony had endured. When he finished, he turned to Wilson. "Administrator, would you like to say something?" Wilson stepped forward, looking at the faces of his people. They had changed. No longer just colonists. They were survivors, fighters, the people who had held on when everything seemed lost. "For years, we thought no one was coming," he began. "We believed we were abandoned, forgotten by Earth. We learned to depend on ourselves, to fight our own battles. We became something new here, not just an Earth colony, but the people of Meridian." He gestured to the Earth ships visible in the evening sky. "Now Earth has returned, more powerful than we imagined. But they didn't save us. We saved ourselves until they arrived. Remember that. Whatever comes next, remember what we endured and what we built here." The crowd cheered as Wilson stepped back. Rodriguez squeezed his hand. "Nice speech." "I meant every word," he replied. Later, as the celebration continued, Wilson stood at his old window in the administration building. The view had changed. Earth ships now dotted the landscape, and the night sky was filled with the lights of the orbiting fleet. Taylor joined him, holding a data tablet. "Reed gave me access to their communications network. Look at this." She showed him a long-range scan of space beyond the Meridian system. Hundreds of green dots moved in formation, more Earth ships, coming to reinforce the fleet. "They're really taking the fight to the Dominion," Wilson observed. "Not just that," Taylor said, eyes bright with excitement. "They've made contact with 3 other spacefaring species, allies against the Dominion. Humanity isn't alone out here." Wilson smiled for what felt like the first time in years. "We never were." Outside, more ships descended through the clouds, bringing supplies, personnel, and new colonists. Colony 7, now officially renamed Meridian Prime, was becoming something new, a symbol of humanity's resilience and determination. The colony that everyone thought had been abandoned was now the front line of humanity's expansion into the stars. The Dominion had chosen the wrong species to conquer, the wrong planet to invade. They had thought no one would come to save a forgotten outpost. They never imagined that when humanity finally arrived, it would come not just to rescue a colony, but to challenge the Dominion's very existence. As night fell on Meridian Prime, the mighty fleet continued to grow, a shining promise in the darkness of space. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.